Hey. Come on. Come on. Hey.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Mic Drop Monday. See that guy behind me? Called Atlas. He carries like the whole world on his shoulders. Why does life feel that way sometimes? Like we're just carrying the whole world on our shoulders. I've got a couple of ideas, maybe even a couple of answers, but I think the Mic Drop Monday family can break it down way better than I can. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started nowish.
What's going on in the world? Why is everybody stressed? Why is anxiety levels risen up more than ever? Why is everybody depressed? Why is everybody on medication? Well, I have a few reasons why I feel, we all have different perspectives and we receive the world differently. True. But I think I broke it down to 4 topics as to what might be making the world feel so heavy at the moment. Those topics are consciousness, lack of separation, lack of morale, and lack of support. Let's break down each one. Consciousness. Right now in the world, everybody is awakening and everybody is more aware. Aware of what? Aware of themselves. That is a scary thing. When you are aware of yourself, you are aware of your flaws. You are aware of what you should be doing that you're not. That is a lot of mental battle you're facing every day. Someone else doesn't even have to get on you and stress you out. You're already doing it to yourself because now you're seeing what it takes. See, now you're able to be aware of what winners do because they're showing you behind the curtains. You're seeing the day-to-day habits. You're seeing the day-to-day consistency, the grind that it takes from some of these people. And you realize you don't do that. You realize you don't have that in you. You realize that there is a difference. It's not luck. See, when it's not luck and you can't blame it on luck, you have to look in the mirror and take a true, absolute value inventory. That's scary. An absolute value inventory means you have to look at yourself as if it's not you, and you have to give honest feedback. You're being lazy. You're not doing this. You're capable of more, but you won't change. You won't do it. And everyone around you, so you think, is doing it. Everyone around you that you're watching is doing what you could be doing. The reason you're attracted to watching the people you're attracted to watch when they're winning is because there's something that they're doing that's in you too. There's something about what they're doing you connect with, even though you don't know it and you don't know why. Because you're capable of the same. You're capable of such. You are capable of such things. All you have to do is awakening yourself, realize that, and go do it. That's scary. To somebody who has awakened and went for the leap, consciousness has blessed them, but then when their life changed, now the pressure's on to keep it up. When consciousness comes into your life and you don't make the change, you're just constantly aware of what you're not changing. That is stressful. The old saying was, ignorance is bliss. Kids are cheerful. Kids are happy. They don't know anything yet. They don't need to be happy. They watch, they learn, they're just reacting. And when you stop reacting and start adulting, that smile starts to shrink because it starts to become real to you what it's going to take out here. It starts to become real to you, that dream you had, what steps you might truly have to follow to get that dream. That scares some people to death. Some people are happy that they find out because now they know what to do and they don't care how hard it is or how long it takes. Everybody's not like that. Matter of fact, it's more people who are scared who are scared from not pursuing what they just became conscious of than it is people who go after it. The people who go after it are the small few. So I feel like personally, social media was not created for every individual to be on. It was a place that should have been like television for celebrities to be on. You should have to be at a certain point in your life to even let people watch your life or watch videos about you. And I feel like that is the reason we're seeing the depression levels rise, because everybody thinks they can do and compete and be the same person because they have the same device. You can't do that. Everybody is not going to turn on their camera and have the same reaction. Everybody is not going to open their mouth and have the same things come out. Everybody's not going to get dressed. Everybody's not going to look the same. It's okay. We used to not care. But we're so conscious now. We want to be rich, fit, and beautiful. Everybody, every single person wants to look at their phone and see someone that looks perfect, and then they want to go back home and look in the mirror and see the same thing. They'll put a filter over their own face. They'll put so much makeup. They'll cover up everything they can to not look like who they really are and not face the truth. Why? Because you have looked at that phone so long that you're starting to identify yourself with the person on the other side of the screen. So now you're almost looking at the screen like a mirror, and you're subconsciously doing things until you see what you see in the phone in the mirror. And it's depressing when it doesn't happen, because that's them. You're you. You have to be conscious enough to understand, if I put in the work and if I do what I need to do for me and only me, if nobody saw it ever, I'm happy, I'm content, and I'm thankful. Not doing things for other people's likeness, for other people to like, comment, and share your video. No. You have to do it for you to like, comment, and share it. For you to critique yourself. That's what consciousness should be doing for you. But we got ourselves in a mist because everybody is using consciousness against themselves right now. The solution, put the phone down. Get off social media. Wake up every day with gratitude. Love and enjoy the people around you and the environment you're in, and stop worrying about somebody across the world who's not even real. You're just looking at a screen at that moment. They're real, but it's not what you think. It's not what you think. Your life is fine. You're fine. You are fine. That is what's stressing a lot of people out. The next thing, the lack of separation. The consciousness has risen because there's more information available on the internet. It's becoming a trend to exercise, to feed your mind, body, and soul, practice more Eastern tactics, right? So because of that, and there's no separation, on the reverse of that is people are starting to imitate things they don't understand. Because the lack of separation, see, when everything was separated, you knew you enjoyed culture class, social studies, right? Because you would see a video or a cultural dance or a cultural food, and you knew you had to go there to experience that. But it's starting to become you can go anywhere and experience anything from anywhere. And that's crazy. The internet, the phone, the device has put the whole world in one room. And when you put the whole world in one room, birds of a feather flock together. So now the groups stop looking separated. You start getting confused. Where are you from? What is your culture? We don't know, because everyone's acting like what they're drawn to and what they like. So you got someone over here dressing, talking, and acting like these people way over here in the world. And on camera, you don't know the difference. The whole world is in one room on these devices. This is causing a lot of stress because you have older people trying to keep cultures and traditions a certain way, and then all the younger people are trying to flip-flop and switch everything. Everybody's trying to change stuff up. Everybody's trying to change it up. They don't want to be separated anymore. They want to be in that group and that group, to the point where it's one group and everybody is about to start talking and looking the same. Everybody is getting closer and closer to being anywhere, and it's going to sound and look the same at some point. Because the phone is making them think, oh, if you look and sound like this, you get more views. So let me do that. If I look, dance, and act like this, I get more views. Oh, let me do that. It's crazy because if you were to walk out of your house and 1 million people were staring at you, you would go right back in the house. Right back. Like you would not be able to bear that feeling of 1 million, 2 million eyeballs on you. But you want 1 million views on the camera so bad. that's causing you depression. That's not reality. The reality is, if a million people were looking at you and you would be comfortable with that, if a million people had their eyeballs staring at you and that wouldn't shake you up or bother you, you are meant to be on this screen. If you had to walk into a room and a million people were staring at you, you need to put the phone down, period. Don't consume, because then you'll start competing and comparing, all right? Consciousness is risen. Don't use it against yourself. All right. Don't use consciousness against yourself. Only focus on the positive side of consciousness. Don't get caught up in this comparing. Don't get caught up in the self-deprivation, the bad self-talk, because you're now more aware of yourself. Just accept who you are. Change what you want to change. Don't change anything for other people. And then that's it. All right. So consciousness has risen. There is a lack of separation. The next thing, there is a lack of morale. The morale is low because, piggybacking off the first two reasons, if I watch someone win all day and I don't consider myself a winner, I don't consider myself in the same game, it's depressing. Subconsciously, I'm watching something I genuinely think I cannot do, but yet I want it. I'm comparing myself. You got to stop doing that. Your morale will not be high if you are competing and comparing. You have to look in the mirror and say, it's me and you. It's us. It's us against nobody. Us. Then nobody can disappoint you. Nobody can let you down. Nobody can judge you, because that's not intake. You don't intake that anymore. You only look in the mirror. It's us. But you can't do that when you spend 80% of your time watching everyone on the screen. If you are a person who uses social media and you don't post, but you want to, and you haven't started, I need you to take 7 days, do not post, make 7 videos every day and watch them yourself. Don't post them. Just make them, make it to where you can see it, and then you watch yourself for 7 days and see how you feel about social media. Then one or two things will happen. You're going to start posting publicly. You're going to get rid of that fear. Or you will realize, I don't need this thing, and I'll put it down, or I won't have it as often, or I'll look at it with a different lens so it doesn't affect me as much. Start posting yourself and just watch it as if you were consuming someone else's content, and watch how there's a shift in your mood and your feeling over the couple of days, hearing your voice, seeing your face. It's going to either help you or it's going to scare you. Either way, it will do something to let you realize what social media really is, and what this phone and what this camera is. It will click in your brain. If you've never done that before, I suggest make videos as if you're going to post them. You're talking to the whole world, and then you only watch them, and just watch them, and just watch them, and just watch them. Watch what you learn about yourself. The last topic brings me to this: the lack of support. I cannot tell you, since I have got on social media last year, how many videos, how many lives, and how many viral videos I've seen about the male and the female and pitting us against each other. Oh, man, this has to stop. This has to stop. We're already competing on the screen with every person we think we should be better than, or we should have more money than. And now we're competing in the house. We're in the house. They're on the screen. You're on the screen. You're worried about what he's looking at, what she's looking at, how much he got, how much she got. You're not even building. You're not even talking. You're not even really relating. You're not even really in a marriage. You're not even really in a relationship. It's so conditional that the littlest thing will end it. And see, watching these lives and listening to these videos that pit the male and female against each other is bleeding into your subconscious. So when you go home, you are not thinking about loving on your significant other. You are already programmed all day watching those negative videos, and the first thing out their mouth sounds like something. Yep, they're right. Look at this. Look. See? This is hardware. What you intake is software. Stop downloading viruses. Stop downloading viruses. Be careful what content you watch. Be careful what music you listen to, and be careful what you eat. Download the correct, proper software to your device, and you will be fine. With the conscious levels being risen in the world, the lack of separation due to the internet and every single person having access to a smartphone, the lack of morale because everyone's depressed, comparing and competing. And then the lack of support, because the households are being torn down from the inside out, outside in, everywhere you look. You got to separate yourself from the world. You got to find someone and lock in and stop getting these vanity relationships. Stop looking for someone to take a picture with and look for someone to go to war with. And maybe all of this will change, because we'll bring the fathers home. We'll start cultivating our women and children again. And maybe they will be able to ignore the negative and have higher self-esteem, raise their vibration, help the people around them. But as long as we are married and dedicated to these devices and not each other, it's always going to feel heavy. It's always going to feel heavy. Remember, the world is not about right and wrong. It's simply about you and me. We have to take care of each other.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for having me on another episode of Mic Drop Mondays. So, alright, let me ask you guys something real. Why does everything feel so heavy right now? Why does it feel like we're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders all the time, but it's like nobody really sees it? And do you ever just sit in silence and just feel like you're holding your breath? Not physically, but emotionally holding it in. Like life's been lifing and you're just trying to keep it together, but inside you're screaming. But you're not the only one. So a little while ago, I was looking at myself in the mirror and I really couldn't recognize the version of myself that was looking back at me. And I wasn't tired because I lacked sleep, even though, I did. I was tired because I've been carrying too much for too long by myself. It's like we're trying to raise kids, build businesses, maintain relationships, stay in shape, stay spiritually grounded, and look good doing it all. And then we're suppressing grief, we're hiding anxiety, and ignoring the actual trauma that's what's screaming to be healed. So let's talk about what's really going on when this happens. The reason everything feels so heavy is because we're pretending to be okay when we're really not. We smile through our screens and we post through our pain. We answer, I'm good, when our soul is whispering, I'm drowning, when somebody actually does ask us if we need help. But God never asked you to perform healing. He asked you to walk through it. We weren't created to fake strength till we make it. We were created to be strong through faith, through truth, and honest vulnerability. And so let's be real. We were never taught how to actually feel, especially in our communities. We were told to suck it up, to stop crying, keep it moving, you'll be all right. But it's like that suppressed emotion, it doesn't just up and disappear. It gets stored in our bodies and in our decisions and in our children. And that weight, it's like it accumulates until you start breaking down in places that don't even make sense. So healing starts when we learn to name the things that we're carrying, the things that are actually bothering us. So let's go even deeper into this. One of the reasons that everyone feels so heavy right now is because we've become disconnected from real joy. And not happiness, the happiness that depends on a good day or a bank deposit, payday. I'm talking about real joy, the deep soul level joy that reminds you, that you're still alive, you're still worthy, you're still chosen, even in the middle of the mess. Like that actual joy when you have that inner knowing that everything is going to be okay all the time. So long that we feel guilty, even when we smile, like we second guess ourselves when life actually feels too light, like we get suspicious, like what's going on, waiting on the next shoe to drop. We've turned hypervigilance, into our emotional home. And that is not joy. That's trauma with lipstick on it, on top of it. And you can't just heal in a space where joy is a stranger to you. It's not good for your body. And another reason that we feel heavy, is community fatigue. It's an actual thing. And we were never meant to be, this isolated, this cut off from support. And yes, we do have community on paper. We have followers, we have likes, and we have group chats and Facebook groups and all that. But how many of us truly feel seen, heard, and held? And we're craving the actual real connection, but it's like we're burnt out from being everything for everybody all the time. And we're showing up on an empty tank, and then, we're blaming ourselves because we don't have enough energy to keep going. We're wondering why we're trying to take, a 20-mile road trip on just fumes, And let me just say this. It's like, you do not have to die on the hill of being strong anymore. That is not, a jewel in our crown that we need to carry anymore. Like, being strong is not the flex we were told it was, if it means, just bleeding in silence. And we weren't meant to be, we're not here to just exist. We're here to experience life, actually in an abundance. And that means having joy. That means having rest without feeling guilty. That means being at peace. And that doesn't have to be earned, through suffering. So if everything feels heavy right now, I want you to know that you're not crazy, you're not broken, and you're definitely not alone. You're just human, and it's okay. And you're overdue for real joy. So this is your invitation to pause. It's your invitation to breathe, to take a deep breath, to ask for help, to start healing for real from inside out. And when you're ready to release the weight, I'm here. We're all here for you. So feel free to DM me or share this with someone who's been carrying way too much. And let's heal together. With everything going on in the world right now, we won't really get into that, but you know what I mean. Like, it's hectic. The time right now in our lives is hectic. It's moving faster and faster. Technology is moving at a faster pace than it ever has before in our lives, actually. So it's important that we take that time for ourselves to stop the chaos, to take that pause. Let's heal together and make sure that we're all holding each other accountable for our healing. So if this message resonated with you, I invite you to connect with us on a deeper level. And come if you want, you can come join. We got a free emotional resilience class going on right now, and that's at raisingkings_ on Instagram. And healing isn't just a personal thing, it's cultural, and it's going to take a whole community to break the cycle, because it's a whole community that's perpetuating the cycle. And you were never meant to carry it all, and starting today, you don't have to. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.
It's Latif, owner of Anaj Health and Beauty, and welcome to another episode of Mic Drop Monday. And this week, we are discussing, why does everything feel so heavy, like in the atmosphere, in the world, in life? Why does everything feel so heavy? And I can only give my answer based on my perspective. So, from my perspective, I feel like if things feel heavy to you, because things may not necessarily feel heavy to you, but if they do feel heavy to you, all right, so to sum it up, it's like our grandparents and our parents used to tell us, mind your business. Good teachers, mind your... So we're not minding our business, our own business enough. And I don't mean that in a selfish way, but I mean that if you're not already doing this, and you feel like things are heavy, look internal. your own world. In all honesty, does your own world feel heavy? And we all got a lot going on. So heavy to you may not be heavy to me. And what's heavy to me may not be heavy to you. But say you have the average life. You know, both of your parents are still living. You have living children. You have a partner. Your neighbors that you see every day. You're in that situation, but you still feel that your world is heavy. Why is your world heavy? If you're blessed, your loved ones are here. They're healthy. Even if it's a struggle, having financial problems, whatever. In my opinion, if that was me, that's my situation. If that's my situation, my world is not heavy because my world is protected. It's being taken care of. You know, I have my loved ones. I have my means of transportation. I have, you know, good neighbors. I have a partner. There's no reason why I should feel like my world is heavy because my world is not heavy. Maybe other things around me, things that I'm watching on the news, stuff that comes across social media, if I'm paying attention to it, then that energy could be making me feel like my world is heavy. But in all actuality, my world is not heavy. And I think that if you do feel like things are heavy, that, you know, just look at things. Is your world heavy? You know, is it happening to you personally? You can care, but it doesn't have to make things so heavy. And I think that, you know, to answer the topic today, I feel like the world, it feels heavy because we have so much thrown at us. Things that really, it wouldn't affect us neither here nor there. If you, some of this stuff, you know, a lot of us focus on certain figures and political figures and stuff like that, when really those people are still going to the bathroom, wiping their behind, taking showers, eating nice, healthy, wealthy meals, and going on with their day. But yet the news comes on in the morning and certain things that they say or propagandas and whatnot, you know, we take that in and it's like, oh my God, we just think about it all day. Oh my God, my world's going to change. Well, no, your world won't really change unless you allow it to a certain extent. Some things may change, but you have to allow that to really affect you in that manner, because there's ways to still navigate around certain things. No matter who calls what shots and says whatever, you can find a way. So I think that may be one of the reasons why the world is, people may feel that, you know, things just feel heavier. They feel like, you know, overloaded with life in general. Okay. Another thing I want to say why you may feel that the world is heavy is, you know, balance. Balance is a big component in life. And when you're off balance or unbalanced, then it's going to be heavy somewhere. You may be light somewhere else, but, you know, heavy somewhere else. So, you know, yeah, if, you know, I'm not saying don't watch the news and don't do this, and, you know, I mean, because even like family group chats, everybody, I see it all over social media, the stuff, you know, little jokes about family group chats and stuff. But even then, you're going to have somebody in your family going to send a group chat about like the saddest story ever, and you're going to open it because it's your family group chat, and then you may see something that you necessarily didn't want to be a part of your world. Like I said, not saying you don't care, because I know myself personally, I say a prayer, you know, collectively for people that I know and don't know, and neighbors and people suffering that I may not have known, or even like social media posts or something like that. But I don't house it in my world, you know. So, you know, that's balance. Sometimes, you know, we take too much in, and we, you know, we may be light, we may be cool, we might be nice and even, and then you start taking stuff in, now you're off balance. So of course it feels heavy. And I honestly think that, you know, that's what sums it up. You know, we're not minding our business. And when I say that, I don't mean like, you know, from the world, but a lot of us, you know, we take friend, family, close relative, neighbor situations. We take it and we harbor it and we hold on to it. I think also that the trend like during COVID of like cutting everybody off, I think that made things a lot heavy because I think a lot of people went around just cutting people off. Like I mean, down to parents, they're like really like we just have no tolerance for nothing. That's not even realistic. That's really not realistic. Like, to cut someone off for something that you could have done to them or somebody else. Which brings me to my next point, why the world is heavy. I think that sometimes we expect grace and mercy and forgiveness, but we're not doing this. To expect it, then you have to give it. None of us are better than the other. You have to give it. Again, all about balance. So, yeah, I think that, as a whole, we just, we've been thrown off balance. It's either one extreme or the next. And then extreme anything isn't good. Too much of anything isn't good. It's not good. So it's kind of like, you have to pick and choose. Do you want to be lopsided, heavy inside, inside still, like you just feel awkward and unbalanced all the time? Or do you want to be, you want to feel balanced? Whereas though, okay, I took that in and, I understand what's going on. Let me put that in the back of my head and just, take mental note to stay briefed on it. But I'm not about to, go through my work day like that or go to sleep with it on my mind or wake up with it. Let me check and see what's going on. As if like the sirens went off, in the city, that emergency thing, or the TV like went off and you have to like, I think it's a lot of unnecessary heaviness. That's basically what I'm saying. So if you do feel like your world is heavy, make sure that you're speaking of your world, you're projecting from your world and not the world, because the world is going to keep on changing and it's going to keep laws and rules are going to be implemented. Things are going to be taken away and some things are going to come. We're going to be 80, 90, 100 years old, looking through our wise eyes at the world and probably looking at generations to come saying, baby, just, don't, you can't saying exactly, some of the stuff that I'm saying, you have to be balanced. You can't let that get to you. You have to go on. So the world may have some things going on, but it doesn't have to make your internal world heavy. You can be cognitive of what's going on, but it doesn't have to weigh you down. You don't have to speak on it for hours on end. Know what's going on, be aware of it, but still stay balanced as much as you can. And hopefully that will lighten the load a little bit. Try to carry your own loads. You have to carry your own loads before you can help other people carry their loads. It's like if you carried a bunch of groceries in a house, and you and whoever else is doing it, and you see them struggling, well, your hands are full with bags. You have to get your load into the house first, and then you come back and help them and help ease the load a bit. So try looking at your internal world. That way you can lighten your load, and that energy will carry over to whoever you're around, and you can lighten their load a little bit. Kind of like a domino effect, It may not be what we want to do, and it may not be what you want to hear, but that's really, in my opinion, the only way we can really ease the load a little bit, make it a little bit lighter if we all work on ourselves. And like I said in the beginning, it's mind your business. Really, like I'm serious. I'm not saying just with the world, feeding in the gossip. Don't feed in the gossip. In social media, it's so easy to do that because people post their business and you start reading comments and looking at, oh, well, this is at, that person is at, or let me look at that at. Like, mind your business. Because all you're doing is adding to your load. And some of that stuff you take in, you might not be able to let out. it may be stuck with you for a while. So, be cognitive of what you take in. And like gossip, celebrities, like all of that silly stuff, all of that right there can lighten your load. Because all these people are doing the exact same thing you're doing. They got bills to pay, probably way more. They're, like I said, they take care of their personal needs. They eat, they do whatever it is they need to do, and they go on with their lives. But some of us are so, worried about their lives. I mean, even going as far, I like so-and-so, they're such a genuine, or they're such a nice person. How do you even know? Like, how do you know? You don't know. Like, so yeah, that's what I feel like. A lot of that stuff makes the world feel heavy versus us just staying in our own lanes, minding our business. Like I said, you can still be empathetic, sympathetic, and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's the loads are coming into your world. The extra baggage isn't going to everything that you're putting attention to. They're lessening their baggage by handing it off to us. They're handing it, and whoever is going to indulge in the stuff, the gossip, the shade room, all that stuff. They're just adding baggage to your load because you're looking at a celebrity story, love life, and now she got heartbroken. Now you feeling like, well, let me find something wrong with my relationship. So like it's all a mind game. It's all a mind game. So I would say if the world does feel heavy, you want to lighten the load, focus on yourself a little bit more, but in a balanced way. In a balanced way. Not a selfish way. Maybe not necessarily selfless, because you do have to focus on yourself to a certain extent. But for the sake of the topic, I would say, all in all, my answer to why everything feels so heavy is because we're not balanced. Our inside worlds aren't balanced. No matter if you're the self-care queen, no matter whatever you look at it, whatever way you look at self-care, it could be too much self-care. That can throw you off balance because now you're not showing the humane side of you. You're only worried about yourself, but it's not just you in this world. So, all in all, my final verdict on why things feel so heavy is because we aren't balanced internally. Not all of us, some of us. Some of us have good days, some of us have bad days. But yeah, we're not balanced internally. So I would say, if you do feel like the world is heavy, take a look at your own internal world. See if it still feels heavy. And if it doesn't, then that's your answer. And if it does, then that's your personal journey on how you choose to lighten that load. Okay? But I'm Latif. I'm the owner of Anaj Health and Beauty, and we make all natural health and beauty products, and we want you to stay inside out beautiful. But until next time, this has been Mic Drop Monday, and I'm Latif, guys, and don't forget to lighten that load. Just lighten it.
Hey, how's it going? I'm happy to be here with you guys for another week. This week we're talking about collective weight, why things feel so heavy in the world right now. And before we really get into this, I just want everybody to just take a second and just breathe. Just feel that oxygen going in and then letting it out, and just, give yourself a moment to pause. We just took a collective moment to pause. I know that might seem loopy or what have you, but the truth is, I need you to pause. I need you to take a break. I need you to recognize that you're here, you're alive, you're above ground and water, like the old folks used to say. And that's big, that's important. You're alive. You're not drowning, you're not dead, you're not in jail, you're not in a hospital. You are here. So I need you to remember that when things get really hard, when things get really tense, when you feel the most anxiety, when you have the most angst, just know you're alive. Some of us are not the healthiest, right? But we could be healthier. We could do what it needs to be done to get our health in line. Some of us are not the most financially stable, but we could work day in and day out to find ways to increase the amount of money that we want to be seeing in our lives. It's never over until it's over. I don't think a lot of people give you that confidence. They don't give you the opportunity to really rest in that. it's not over until it's over. I need you to believe in that. I need you to trust that God exists. God wants you to experience His grace, His mercy, but also His favor. You deserve to experience God's favor. I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I was telling them, a lot of people don't feel like they deserve, like when they achieve God's favor, when they achieve a level of fame, a level of wealth, some of them don't feel like they deserve it because they didn't do the work to earn it. They weren't aligned and in tune with what God's plan and His mission was for them. But what I needed him to understand is you don't deserve God's favor or not. God gives you His favor no matter what you do. So each one of us has access to God's favor. We just have to choose to walk in it, to experience it, to recognize the way that He favors us in our lives. One of the most basic ways is that we're alive. We're here. We're breathing. We're moving. Some of us, we don't have the full access to our limbs, but we're able to still get around in a wheelchair. We're still able to move and get the things that we need done. That's favor. Some of us truly have a disability, but we're still able to navigate and move through this world. That's favor. Now, you can increase the level of favor that you receive, not with God by doing anything. Again, you can't earn His favor. It's already given to you freely. But you can increase the level of access to it that you have and that you experience by, in your life, doing different things so that you can experience it in greater ways. I have a young man that I've been mentoring, and for a while he just wouldn't go to work. He was able to get a doctor's note due to his disability, so when it got too much, he'd just leave. But for him, he hadn't had $200 in his pocket, and I want to say a year. Now he has about $600 because he's showing up to work. He's doing what he needs to do. He's able to experience a greater level of God's favor just by handling his business. Now, again, let's go directly back to the topic. Collective weight, right? As a philosopher, so my degree is in philosophy and economics. Now, philosophy, when we talk about the collective weight, that deals with the collective mind, the collective zeitgeist. So there's a universal mind, and we call that the zeitgeist. And a lot of times the universal mind is that we have the same thoughts, the same feelings, the same ideas, the same worries and anxieties collectively as a community. It's because of the way that we're connected in this world today. Right now, it's a lot worse because we have the internet. So a lot of times when there's hysteria in one pocket of the world, it's all over the world because we can immediately blast it on TV. I think somebody said something to me. It was actually my mother. She was telling me that, in her day, you had the 6 o'clock, the 2 o'clock, and then the 7 o'clock news. Today you have around the clock news coverage. So a lot of things that are happening, we're hearing right now in an instant. You can't get away from the hysteria. You can't get away from the bad news. You can't get away from the worry and the anxiety felt all across the world. But with that, right, I want to touch on that in this way. Just because it's on the news, just because people are talking about it, just because it's happening for someone else, does not mean that it actually is happening and affecting you. Some people are hysterical right now because of what's going on with the stock market. Trillions of dollars are lost in the stock market. If you don't necessarily have a 401k, if you're not doing day trading and things like that, and your money isn't caught up in the stock market, you truly were not impacted immediately. But then think about that. I really want you to think about what took place in that situation. Yes, trillions of dollars were lost because of the tariffs. However, once Trump pulled back the tariffs and gave it a 90-day pause, what immediately happened? Immediately, the stock market had one of its best days that it's ever had. What was the point of the hysteria? For the people that are worried about their 401ks, for the people that are doing the trading, for the people whose money is caught up in the stock market, you just had the opportunity to make the best play of your entire trading and stock, like your time in the stock market. Your best day. So if you were too worried, if you were risk adverse, right, when you were afraid to take a risk, when you were afraid to move and play and do what you needed to do, yeah, it hit. Yeah, you got impacted. But for the everyday person that wasn't in the stock market, you almost missed the whole thing that went on. It just was a fly-by-night. Now, again, the tariff situation for some people, yes, it's horrible. People are losing their jobs. People are, getting put in a situation where they don't know how long they're going to be able to work at their current place of employment. However, I argue there are different things that you can do with your finances to set yourself up and protect yourself now. So I don't really like to deal with hysteria. I don't really like to get into the collective weight. Not because I'm perfect, not because I'm not going to be impacted in some way, but I'm a put your head down and chop wood type person. I'm a what can I do to make sure I'm protected, make sure my family's protected, make sure my employees and people around me are protected. I like to, cause hysteria, right? When I come in, when you're dealing with me, it's a little bit of weight, it's a little bit of, tension. Not because I'm gonna cause a problem, but because I'm gonna do what I need to do to make sure me and mine are protected, make sure me and mine are taken care of. If I gotta cut a deal, if I gotta partner with somebody, if I gotta go ahead and make greater purchases, if I gotta pull back on some of my spending, right, personally and for the business, I'm gonna do whatever needs to be done to take care of me and mine. And so right now, a lot of people are worried. There's the collective anxiety. Yes, people getting laid off. What non-skill and abilities do you have where you can get employed somewhere else? And it's just like the pandemic. You might be able to make a career change, right? A career transition where you're working and you experience a way better experience in life. You hated your 9 to 5. You hated the work that you were doing. You hated the people that you were around. You know what, baby? You get a chance now to make the money that you want to make, doing what you love, doing what you enjoy, even just learning and growing. How many people want to go back to school? You lose a job, it might not seem right, but you take out some student loans, you'll be able to pay for school and then do little odd jobs, right? I know it doesn't sound glorious, right? Take a smaller paying job where you now can go back to school, get the knowledge that you need, get the requisites that you need. But a setback or having to step back does not mean that you fail, right? One of the main things I want to always tell people is have vision. So when there's a moment like this where there's collective weight, if you have a vision for yourself, a vision in mind for where you want to go, you're always trying to make sure you're on that path, right? You see how there's one restraint right here, there's one restraint right here, and right here, that's vision. That's forward progress, forward motion. You want to always be moving forward. And for a lot of people, it's like, all right, he's just saying that. I'm not just saying that. I promise you, I'm not just saying that. The people who succeed, the people who fail when moments like this come up are the ones that don't have a plan. The ones that don't even have a vision in mind of where they want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, you're going nowhere. You're just spinning your wheels. You're spinning gas. You're just walking endlessly. But if you have a vision, you're going to end up there. If you ask anyone who's ever done anything of value, that ever achieved anything of greatness, anything that they dreamed of, it's because they had a clear vision in mind. They made a to-do list. They had a roadmap. They wrote out exactly what they wanted, where they wanted to be, and who they wanted to be when they got there. And they achieved that. So use this as a time. Don't get caught up in the hysteria. Don't get caught up in the collective fear, the collective anxiety, the collective worry. God got you. A lot of people right now, you're more worried because you don't have the faith. All right? Use this as a time to get closer to God, to renew your faith promise. Renew your relationship with God so that you know, God got me, right? I have faith. I have a vision. I'm going forward. That's all it takes. It takes faith. It takes a vision and forward motion. You control the forward motion. You control the vision. Now leave that 10% for God. That's one of my favorite things to say to people. Leave 10% for God, no matter what I do. Whenever I'm anxious, whenever I'm worried, whenever I'm a little shy or hesitant, I know I left my 10% for God. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move on faith. Because I know what the vision is. So after I identified the vision, it's a faith walk. A faith walk means that you're going forward no matter what you see, no matter what you hear, no matter what you're experiencing. You're going forward because you left your 10% for God. Your relationship with God is so strong. Your belief is so strong. You know that Jesus died on the cross for your sins. You know that God has blessed all these people, done all these miracles for people in the Bible. And you can find different people in today's time who he's blessed and he's done miracles for. It's not just biblical, right? It's today too. Why not you? I need you to truly believe. Why not me? Why should I not experience God's favor and his promise that he has for me? What work do I need to do? How much time do I have to put in? Where do I need to go? What do I need to say? Who do I have to be? Do whatever it takes. Because fear is not an option. If you have children, you have people that depend on you, fear is not an option. Anxiety is not an option. Worry is not an option. We don't have the time, the opportunity to worry, to be afraid, to consider things that aren't actually tangibly affecting us negatively. Just because it's affecting someone else, somewhere else, does not mean that you have to be beholden to that fear, to that anxiety, to that worry, because God has a promise. He has favor just for you. You can access, you can experience, you could be a part of something beautiful, something great. You just have to know that your plan is not their plan. What God has for you is for you. It may not be for Tina. It may not be for Earl. It may not be for Eric. It may not be for Rachel. But for you, God's favor, His promise, what He has for you is for you. So don't let the worry, don't let the fear, don't let the anxiety, don't let any of that get to you. Because what God has for you is greater than your fears, greater than your anxieties, greater than your worries. But you cannot access them. You cannot take hold of them. You cannot be a part of His favor, His grace, His mercy, His love. The gift that He has for you, you can't receive any of that if you're allowing the fear, the anxiety, the worry that someone else is creating, someone else is putting in front of your attention to stop you. So again, anytime that you're worried, anytime that you're anxious, anytime that you, because I don't want to sound redundant, anytime that you're not sure what to do, pray. Anytime you're not sure what to do, give your 10% for God. Throw it up like a Hail Mary. Or like a free throw, throw it up like a Hail Mary, right? Give that 10% up. Go on that faith walk and keep forward motion. Because I promise you, and this is something you can take to the bank. So go to the bank, go to the teller, like, look, Kim Montgomery told me that if I have a vision, I go on a faith walk and leave my 10% for God, I can cash this in. I promise you they're going to give you what the money you're asking for. It ain't no stick up, it ain't no robbery. It is legitimate, like faith. It's legit, like you can cash this in, it's tangible, right? You can take it to the bank. Like, it is true, it's legitimate, it's honest, I'm telling you. God wants you to experience His grace, His faith, His mercy, and He wants you to know that what He has for you is for you. But you gotta remove everything that's in front of you, all the worry, all the anxiety, so that you can access that. I truly believe the fear. Let me step back. I truly believe that the collective weight and the anxiety that comes with that, the fear, the anxiousness, I believe that's nothing but the devil trying to make you doubt. And doubt is something that's not of God. When you doubt, you don't get busy. When you doubt, you don't make it happen. When you doubt, you can't achieve your dreams, your goals, and the things that you truly desire deep down. Again, I want you to know, I believe in you. I believe in your dreams. I need you to believe in you, and I need you to believe in your dreams and goals, because God already believes in you. He sent His only begotten Son to die on the cross so that you no longer had to experience or would be worried about your sin. He loves you that much. So go get your promise that God has for you. Again, if you want to work with me, visit me at echopressity.com. I'm here for you. I love you.
Hopefully you got the answers that you needed. As far as, I guess the easiest way to put it is putting some of that weight down. You're not obligated to carry all this extra stuff around with you your whole life. You're really not. Make sure that you tune in every week, every Monday, right here on YouTube for Mic Drop Monday with the Mic Drop family. They are definitely dropping mics because that's just what they do. With that being said, the reason why I think we all do what we do, not only to motivate and inspire, but basically because love you guys.
What? Come on. Gotcha. Uh-huh. What? Come on. Come on. Come on. Gotcha.